Grace and peace. Brother Sean here with another video lesson. This lesson is about the prophecy of Zechariah in Matthew chapter 27 verses 9 through 10. Truthfully, it's a faulty translation. And in this video, I just want to show how the prophecy that's mentioned in Matthew 27 from 9 to 10 regarding Judas Iscariot, it says that it's Jeremiah, but it should be Zechariah. So let's take a quick look. Matthew 26:14. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, What will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. So we see here that very clearly Judas Iscariot, he goes to the chief priests who represent Israel, and he negotiates with them for a price to turn over the Messiah. So now, after the Messiah is captured, let's go into what happens with Judas. Matthew 27 verses 3, it reads, Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself, and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? See thou to that. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple, and departed and went and hanged himself. And the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful for to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Wherefore that field was called the field of blood unto this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as Jah appointed me. So when we look at this, there's a few things we want to highlight. Again, it was Judas. He went to the chief priests. They covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. When he was condemned, he went back to the temple, and he threw the silver pieces into the temple. And the chief priest took that money and bought the potter's field. Okay, and some people say, hey, this prophecy in Matthew chapter 27 is referring to Jeremiah chapter 32. But I say no, this prophecy has not been found at all in Jeremiah. But I want to take a look at Jeremiah chapter 32, because I know some people may have an issue with that. First of all, we know that we are speaking of Jeremiah here, right? It's not anybody else. It's Jeremiah from the Strong's Concordance. And I like how they have in the bottom here, Jeremiah. Again, having that J sound in the name, Jeremiah. When we look at other translations, we can see clearly that every translation has Jeremiah. So most definitely, probably this would be in the ancient manuscripts of the Greek translation of the New Testament. As you can see, Jeremiah is everywhere. So let's take a look at Jeremiah chapter 32 verse 6. And Jeremiah said, The word of Jah came unto me, saying, Behold, Hanameel, the son of Shallum, thine uncle, shall come unto thee, saying, Buy thee my field that is in Anathoth, for the right of redemption is thine to buy it. So Hanameel, mine uncle's son, came to me in the court of the prison according to the word of Jah, and said unto me, Buy my field, I pray thee, that is in Anathoth, which is in the country of Benjamin. For the right of inheritance is thine, and the redemption is thine. Buy it for thyself. Then I knew that this was the word of Jah. So when we look at this very clearly, the Most High was speaking to Jeremiah, letting him know that his family member is going to come and ask him to get a piece of his field. And so we see that this field is in Anathoth, but also you notice it's in the country of Benjamin. It's not in Jerusalem anywhere, but it's in the country of Benjamin, not in the land of Judah. Goes on to say, And I bought the field of Hanameel, my uncle's son, that was in Anathoth, and weighed him the money, even 17 shekels of silver. So we should know that a shekel is a measurement. It's not an actual piece, but it's a weight of measurement, like you weigh grains with that or any other type of products. So this weight was 17 shekels of silver. Now I've heard some people say that it does translate to, or you can kind of bring it up to date in money, and it would equal 30 pieces of silver. But I don't believe that at all. I think that's just made up, and I've even looked into it. You can't compare the 30 pieces of silver with that weight. It's very clear what it is. However, let's go on. And I subscribed the evidence and sealed it and took witnesses and weighed him the money in the balance. So again, what we see here is very clear. Jeremiah bought the field that was in Anathoth, and he paid 17 shekels of silver for it. But this has nothing to do with the prophecy regarding Judas. I mean, let's take a look and compare. Matthew 27, it says, then was fulfilled. That means this was a prophecy that was made very clearly and was fulfilled. That which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet. And this is what he was supposed to be saying. And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field as Jah appointed me. So we can see very clearly that this has nothing to do with Jeremiah chapter 32. And anybody who would try to kind of make a link there would be stretching it, would have great problems. You see, this prophecy is found very clearly, almost word for word, in the prophet Zechariah. All right, again, let's compare it now to the Zechariah verse. Matthew 26 again. What will you give me? They covenanted him 30 pieces of silver. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple, and then he hanged himself. And the chief priest took the silver pieces and said, it is not lawful for them to be put in the treasury because it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Now let's look at Zechariah 11 again. And I said unto them, notice Matthew 26, and said unto them, what will you give me? And back down to Zechariah 11, and I said unto them, if you think good, give me my price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. So we can see here, it's almost word for word, the Most High is putting the words in Judas' mouth. Because it says here, if you think good, give me my price. And Judas said unto them, what will you give me? Notice it's covenanted 30 pieces of silver. 30 pieces of silver. Very, very clear, and actually link up greatly. But now, let's take a look at the matter and seal it. And Jah said unto me, cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized at of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and cast them to the potter in the house of Jah, the Lord. And we know the house of Jah is the temple. One thing you can see here in Zechariah 13, it was a good price. 30 pieces of silver would have made Judas, kind of be able to retire and live, live really easy. But 17 shekels of silver, no, it doesn't equal at all to somebody getting an amount of money that would make them set for life at all. So we see again that he cast these pieces of silver in the temple, and in verse 13 at the end, the 30 pieces of silver, and cast them to the potter in the house of Jah, in the house of the Lord, which is the temple. And it says that cast them to the potter. And you notice here that they bought with them the potter's field. So it's very clear that this prophecy, almost word for word, is fulfilled, right? So let's finish it up by looking at both these prophecies. So it says in Matthew, Zechariah the prophet, which I now is telling you it's Zechariah the prophet, saying, they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as Jah appointed me. Zechariah 11, and I said unto them, if you think good, give me my price, if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver, and Jah said unto me, cast it unto the potter, a goodly price that I was prized at of them. And I took the 30 pieces of silver and cast them to the potter in the house of Jah. So very clearly, when we look at both of these prophecies, Matthew is fulfilling Zechariah's prophecy, and it's a translation in error that it's not Jeremiah that gave this prophecy. Now, I really hope this is clear and you got some understanding. I want to give all praise to Jah, the Most High Father, and His Son, Jahoshua, the Messiah, for giving us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of His Word, that we may have an understanding of the true doctrines that are found within the Holy Scriptures. Again, this is the prophecy of Zechariah, in Matthew chapter 27. It's a faulty translation. It says Jeremiah, but it should be Zechariah. All praise to the Most High Jah again. One love.